Thought for the day. Okay, this week, I want to go through a list of 5 or 6, or actually 6, but I only have 5 days of the week, so I'll figure that out later on in the week. But a list of 6 ways we should go about reading the Bible. Obey. Jesus tells us to give in secret. You'll read that Jesus says, don't pray like the hypocrites, to forgive others. He gives an instruction that we are supposed to be forgiving people. Paul's describing a life that's lived concentrated on me. What others do for me, what I want, what's most important for me. And that drive is what drives these sins there. And if we read that, we say, sins to avoid. And it's reading a book of misery and lamenting becomes one of the greatest blessings we can enjoy. It's found in chapter 3. In verses 21, 22, 23, 24, right in that range. And here's what the poet, lamenter, said. He says that he's not going to let all of the difficulties get him down because, quote, the steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. It's during that famine that Joseph's brothers come to him and basically need his help for survival. Joseph, at first they don't recognize him. Joseph, he's been gone for umpteen gazillion years at this point, and they don't recognize him. They just know this very powerful man in Egypt has the power of life and death over them. When they suddenly realize who Joseph is, they fear the worst. They last dealt with Joseph with them trying to decide, do we kill him or just sell him into slavery and ruin the rest of his life? Joseph had every reason to hold it against him, every reason to get revenge, every reason for animosity and hatred. And instead, Joseph looks at them with kindness and forgiveness and says, what you meant for evil, God meant for good. The Bible reveals things about God. And one of the key understandings of the Christian faith is that God is so far beyond what we could ask or think of in terms of a person or an entity, that God himself is beyond this world. We can speak of him in human terms, but they don't really apply. They just give us a glimpse of who he is. And so when we read the Bible, we're able to learn how God has revealed himself. And that's a key understanding of Christianity. Not just Christianity, but Judaism as well, is that we understand God because he reveals himself to us. And we as believers ought to embrace those. And the way it starts is reading the Bible and looking for those promises that we can rightfully claim from our God, who is a promise keeper. He promises to be faithful to forgive us. He promises to give us strength. He promises his Holy Spirit to teach us and remind us, to convict us of sin and righteousness and judgment, to lead us and guide us in what we should be doing, to empower us to do things we couldn't do on our own. But we know we can do all things through him who strengthens us.